everyone, welcome to the next tutorial. In this one, seeing we made our little wooden fence, which I'm going to delete. Oops. Seeing we did that, we might as well go a little bit further and try to make a low poly house look like it's high poly. And to do that, I'm first going to time-lapse make a house, just with this little thingy. I'm going to make a very basic house, and we're going to make that little basic house look high poly for a 3D first person game, first person shooter, or whatever game you want. So yeah, I'm going to start the time lapse. Okay, so normally if you want to do something like this, you make the windows a separate object, same with the door, but for this tutorial thing, we're just going to do the roof and these walls. I'm not going to do that. Last thing that I forgot to do is expand the roof. But first, I'm going to make this object look a little bit cleaner, I would say, but it won't actually be cleaner. I'm just thinking how I'm going to do that. This looks a little bit cleaner. Should have taken this one as well. So yeah, the thing is, there's no use in making things look low poly, in low poly things looking high poly if you don't make them high poly first. Well, if you make them low poly, let me restart it. There's no use in making things look high poly if they start out being high poly. So the more we reduce this to make it look nice, the better. I think this is acceptable. If I put another line over here, it would be better, I guess, but I'm not gonna. So the next thing that we need to do is unwrap this. I'm going to take the two roof things. Don't need these lines. I do need those. And I'm going to mark the seams before I continue. So now I need to make my roof. Just going to drag it up a tiny little bit. Extrude SX. Just scale it out a little tiny bit and do the same for these ones. Extrude, scale them out just a tiny little bit, and in this case I'll need to drag them down as well to make them look nice. And I think I did something wrong. SX, but I just had to extrude them on the y-axis, scale them on the y-axis, which I didn't do. Okay, so this is our building. I messed up the seams, so Control E and clear seams. So now I'm I can restart doing the seams. So first I'm going to, nah, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm first going to clean up the roof because it's not as clean as I want it to be. So merge at last. I'm gonna do the same over here. Merge at last. These ones are good. These ones aren't. Merge at last. Merge at last. This one as well. Same over here. So yeah, this needs to be done all over the roof. Again, there's no use in making low poly objects look high poly if you make it high poly to start with. And the last one. Okay, so now I can start marking my seams. I'm going to start with making the roof a separate object, like so. Mark seam. And I'll need to take out the doors and the windows. And the same over here. Mark seam. Now, this is going to be a little tricky part. Depending on what kind of game you're making, you want to get these lines, this little piece and this little piece, you want to get them as separate objects. Because for a top-down game, it doesn't really matter. You just see the detail of this one and these. But all the others, you should make them into a separate object. I'm just going to go and mark the edges. Same with the door. There. And on this one as well. And I can't get to these two. Okay, so that's that. Now we need to get a starting point. Preferably it's a spot that you don't really see. So let's say you want to add in some barrels or a pipe over here, then you take this one, because this is going to be the messed up part. I'm just going to use that one because I'm talking about it. For the roof, again, the same thing. Just mark the edges. This one doesn't need a starting point because with how we are marking it, it should all look fine. Don't need this one, I need this one, and did I do that one? Yes. Okay. So that's that. Next step is the unwrapping. And there we go. It's not a very clean unwrap, according to me, and I'm wondering why. Why isn't it a clean unwrap? You smart project, and that doesn't do anything because I didn't select it. You smart project. There we go. That's a clean unwrap. He did make these. Oh yeah, he made those into separate objects for no apparent reason. But that's not a big problem. All we need to do is, oh, he unwrapped everything separately. Okay, just the normal unwrap. I'll just have to change some things over here. So B SC0, oops, SY0. I'm not going to do the entire thing. But yeah, this will mess up my my UV a little bit. Everything that I'm doing, this is going to mess it up just a tiny little bit. L, grab. This is the roof. These are the windows and the door, which we're not really going to use. And this is everything else. So this one is actually the most important part. I should have done that in two separate ones. So depending on the size of your object, you want to make them into 2 or 3 pieces. I could also make them into 4 pieces, which would make it even easier. You unwrap. There we go. Still, the front side looks nasty. That's probably because I was cutting into it instead of just using the normal way of doing it. I'll rotate 180 because I want everything to be in the same direction, the right direction. I'm gonna put this one down here. I'm going to put this one right next to it. I first want to get this one, this one, and the windows out of the way. The roof as well, so we can make a nice and clean image. These are these two. S, Y, 0. I'm pretty sure that's because I was cutting into the image. I'm gonna put this down here. S, Y, 0. I'm gonna do that for every little thing for a second so we can get things right. Okay, so we did that. I'm gonna select this one, grab Y, gonna drag it down, not height, gonna drag it down over here. L, I'm gonna fit the roof up here, and all of this junk, which we're actually not going to be using, to put there. Okay, so we did our basic house, we unwrapped it. Now it's time to get it looking high poly. So how do we do that? The way that I do it is the way you're going to see it. There's many ways to do so. You can take like a brick texture, go down here where it's, no, not this, I need this first, where it says normal. You can tap that on, you can go to this, and then bake the normal map. But that's not the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to use X normals to do this. Don't need you. So yeah, the first thing that I'm going to have to do is make sure that my cursor is at the center and add in a new cube. I'm going to scale this down a lot. I'm going to drag it over here. SZ, oops, SZ, no, SZ 0.5, SZ 0.5. Okay, and this is where it gets kind of complicated if you did it wrong like I just did. SX point, no, SY 0.5. So if you did it wrong like I just did, you're going to be stuck with something like this, where this corner is too far away from that, and probably here I'll get into some problems as well. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. I could go into the house, I could select these 4 and drag them here so that this fits in nicely. And I could do that to the windows and everything else as well. It will mess up my UV map a little bit, but not too much. So this S 1.5 as 1.1, just to have it a little bit bigger than the building. And I'm going to go to my modifiers, subdivision modifier, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did in the previous video. SX. And SY. And which one did I do? This one, I think. SZ. Like so. So this looks like a brick. I'm going to fit it in a little bit closer in a second. Smooth. So a little bit closer. And the thing that I did kind of wrong right now is it should have been here, so it's easier to move. Okay, so that's that. Now I made this brick, but I need to have another brick as well. So I'm going to duplicate this. And this one, I'm going to select these edges and drag them in. So they're kind of half of what this guy is. Now let's fit it in. There we go. So we've got our bricks. I can delete this one now. And this is basically how we need to fill in our entire house, relocate the windows a little bit, but it will all be fine. So that's, again, going to be in a time lapse. I guess if I show you guys how this works like this, that you guys know how to do it. Of course, this one is going to have to be, is going to have to be this one. Like so, RZ90. And the problem is I didn't put it in the right position, so I get this problem where I'll need to fix it manually. There, that side is fixed, and grab X, this side is fixed. So that's basically how you'll have to do this kind of thing. So that's going to be the time lapse. That's okay, so this is one way to do it. I'm not going to do the roof because that's a different way. If you guys want, I will do a video on that. But for now, I'm going to end like this. I'm going to export this as house LP. Did I need to change? Nope. Okay, house LP. And I'm going to grab this and drag it out. So yeah, as you can see, you've got a nice looking brick house. You could also just make the bricks first and then do this one afterwards. But yeah, I did it like this. So all of these, export, obj, house, HB. Export. It will take a little while. There we go. Now I need to give you guys the rest of my screen again, like so. Don't need these yet. Don't need this. Okay, I do need this. High definition, remove mesh, low definition, and remove mesh. Remove mesh. Where are you? Remove mesh. Okay, so this is the low poly. Where is my house? House low poly. House high poly. Now for the baking, I'm going to put this higher because it's going to be for a 3D first person kind of game that I'm doing this. So we need to put this a little bit higher than for an RTS game. House bricks, just going to call it like that, and generate the maps. This, of course, is going to take a little bit longer, and as you can see down here, it messed up my UVs just a little bit, but nothing to worry about. Neither on this side, I guess. And the ambient map is going to take a little bit longer as well. Because there's a lot of unwrapping going on here. And there we go. This computer did that surprisingly fast, I must say. Okay, so we go into our Unity folder, our Unity map. I'm going to select the ones we need and low poly house. Let's drag those in. House. I'm going to scale this up. 2, 2, 2. Nah. 5, 5, 5. That's too big, yeah. So let's just keep it like this. So we have a house with a fence. Little fence. Okay, so this needs a texture as well. So material, house. Drag it on top of there, and let's get into it. The normal mapping. Fix. Yeah, because we didn't do the roof, it looks kinda nasty at the moment. But I can always change this. It's because the lighting that came from underneath here on top of the roof, and we don't have anything that's blocking that like this roof is. I could, however, fix that. Okay, so house, normal map, there. So as you can see, the roof is fixed. You do see these little changes down here, but that's our fault. Well, my fault, because I switched it up a little bit. This is the normal map, the occlusion map, and this is the height map. So yeah, it warped a little bit. You should actually redo the unwrapping after you did what I did. So messing things up. Why is everything double here? Oh, because of the height map. There. That should be a little bit better. So yeah, as you can see, we've got ourselves a nice looking brick house. Should I texture it? Let's just add in this wood texture. So yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. If I do it like this, I am going to change this texture up a little bit. There, a brick house. And if you stand in front of it, let's, where's my camera? Main camera. It's inside. Okay. And if you look at everything that we made this far from a creator's perspective, we get this. The thing you see here is because of the wood. But if you look at this little line over here, this ground line, you can see it looks like these walls are popping out. Also with the fence, it looks like they're kind of popping out. Same with this one. So yeah, that's what we wanted to do, and that's what we got. I hope this was helpful to you guys. In the next video, I'm going to show you guys another way to get this kind of thing to your house in a different way. So the same kind of tiling, but in a different way, and it's going to be so much, not as much work as this was, but it's still going to be a lot of work. I'll see you guys in that video.